We've all been looking forward to this moment since the DCL returned at the start of 2023. Our brand new competitive season. We increased the number of teams from 6 to 10. We had many more racing weeks and we split our season into 2. So welcome everybody wherever you are. We are the Drone Champions League. I'm Matt Andrews and it is time for our Split 1 finals. Yes, been looking forward to this since that 18-week Split 1 began, with those 10 incredible teams in that round robin all racing each other to see who could make it to here. Well, those Split 1, our regular season, those 18 weeks. What great races we had. Remember, you can watch them all on our YouTube channel with our weekly magazines and, of course, on our previous Flight Night chat programs as well. But here, live to you, time for our Split finals. The pilots are ready from our top 6 teams. Let's show you who qualified and who's looking to be the Split 1 champion. STT Perpetuum Coin out of Spain were 6th after the 18 weeks of the season concluded. Every one of our teams has 2 pilots to race here in the Split 1 finals and to battle it out, of course. Who else would STT Perpetuum Coin choose but 2 pilots who've been absolutely amazing for them all season? They are Danube and Silvio. Cyclone Racing were the best of the 5 new teams who joined the DCL in 2023. And after their season, which included, let's not forget, early in the season, they were on top of the leaderboard. They finished in 5th place, a fantastic performance for them. J-Box has been a standout performer for the team, but he can't make it this weekend. So we have the Ice Cheetah, who's also been an incredible pilot for them, and Zion FPV is completing their lineup of 2 to fight for the title today. China Dragons, long-time stalwart of the DCL, their best season to date sees them in 4th place after the standings, and remember they opened the season with an incredible win over the reigning world champions of Raiden. China Dragons though, clone number 1, James Covey out of the UK, has been their best performer in terms of wins. He was in fact the 3rd best pilot out of everybody in the Split 1 so far, but he can't make it this weekend. They're racing with Ion FPV out of Bangalore in India and Chryson. Those reigning world champions, the 2-time world champions no less, they are the proud black and yellow team from Japan, Raiden Racing. They don't want to concede any races or any titles along the way. Will they be our first Split 1 champions? Well, they've picked Vincent Mayans, of course, to race for them. But then out of all the other pilots who we've seen, Yuki and Matteo and Costa and so on, it is IQ0. Gabe comes in for Raiden to fight today. The American team, Quad Force 1, loud and proud and always bringing it to our events since they joined back in 2018. They were on top of our leaderboard at times this year, switching places with X-Blades. They finished in the 2nd seed position, and I know many people are really excited to see this. Out of all these incredible pilots, yes, Propsicle is charging for Quad Force 1, and yes, it is Leviathan who will be alongside him. And top of the leaderboard, the number 1 seed, X-Blades Drone Racing Team out of the UK. The former, many times, DCL World Champions until Raiden took that title from them a couple of years ago. Out of all of these pilots, what a lineup! Such incredible performers. It is Yayu who gets the pick and Sally 1 for X-Blades. So those are your 6 teams looking to be the Split 1 champions and the 12 pilots who are going to be racing to try and lift that title as well. And it's a little bit different. We are totally live to you here on Twitch. We have a new track for them to race, which you'll see in a short while. But also, it's not round robin racing anymore. It's our double elimination bracket. Let's show you how that lines up all of these 6 teams. So after race day 18, this is how the leaderboard looked, with X-Blades, Quad Force 1, Raiden, China Dragon, Cyclone Racing and SDT in the top 6 positions. The other teams we'll be seeing back in Split 2. Out of those 6, first race is 4th, second race is 3rd, and then the teams in 5th and 6th, they'll start off in our elimination zone. The teams in the main round have 2 lives. The teams in the elimination zone, Cyclone and STT, they just start with 1. Our first race will be X-Blades against China Dragons in a best of 3 with all the pilots, both of the pilots on each team, racing in every single race. No 1v1s or anything like that here. Every race is 2v2. It'll be X-Blades against China Dragons. Then we'll see Quad Force 1 against Raiden Racing in a best of 3. Then we will start to eliminate teams. Cyclone Racing and SDT Perpetuum Coin have 1 life each. Whoever loses that matchup is eliminated from the tournament. The teams who lost in the main round, they drop to the elimination zone. They lose 1 of their lives in doing so. They'll get eliminated if they lose a second. So the loser of X-Blades and China Dragons will face the winner of Cyclone and SDT, and so on and so on. Lose a race, you drop to the elimination zone. Lose a race from there, you're out. And it's best of 3s until we get to the semi-finals. They're both best of 5s, and I'm delighted to tell you the grand final, it's a best of 7. And I've talked a little bit about how the rosters have changed coming into this final. The 8 pilots on every team, we're usually picking as groups of 4 in the round robin stage, but here in the finals it comes down to the pressure on just 2 of them. But some of the teams had sort of difficult decisions to make on who was going to race, who got through their trials in some instances. Let's show you how the pilots lined up after the 18 weeks of the regular season and who scored what for their teams. You'll see it's very interesting. Propsicles stand out. Look at that. The number 1 pilot out of the 18 race weeks with 48 wins for his team. An astonishing performance. Great flying from the captain of Quad Force 1, Silas Aaron. Second place, Vincent Mayans from Raiden Racing, just 2 points behind him. But then, have a look at these pilots. The best of China Dragons, the only one who was in that top 10, Clone number 1. He can't make it today. For Cyclone Racing, J-Bots made it to 5th. The Ice Cheetah brilliantly performed and got to 8th, but J-Bots can't make it today, so the Ice Cheetah is racing alongside Zion instead. You can see 2 pilots from X-Blades. Yayu, great showing, right in the middle there, 6th place with 21 points. The next best performer for X-Blades was Star, but he's on vacation, so Sali 1 is racing. It's very interesting to see who's coming in with their pilots. The only team who have 2 pilots in the top 10 who are racing right today is SDT Perpetuum Coin. Silvio racking up so many wins, and Danube, who we know is absolutely deadly as well. So it's going to be really exciting to see what these teams can do. And remember, for Cyclone and SDT, they start in the elimination zone, so they have to win every race that they're in. The other teams, they get 2 goes at it. Let us know here in the Twitch chat, who do you think is going to see this to the end? Who's going to be our Split 1 champion? Let us know in the chat who you think is going to win each of the individual battles as we go as well. I can see Silent is here cheering on Raiden. Silent, fantastic to see you joining us. Would love to see you racing. I hope we get to see more of you in Split 2. Flo Chelly is here cheering on his team. I know the Cyclone guys will be here loud. Asylum's been with us since ages ago, and the One Donut as well. Welcome, everybody. The Split 1 finals are here, but Matt, I hear you ask, what will they be racing on? Aha, says Matt. I will show you. It's a new track. It's called No Pressure. And that's a lie. Not the track name, but the track name. Not what I'm saying, but what it's called. You understand. This is not a no pressure track. Around its DCL gates, over Lake Zurich's Rapperswil castle, under 2 hurdles, then a hard 180 dive down. And take a look at this, a left-hand swing into a right-hand descending ladder. That is pretty tough. Then we go to the first of our casino cubes. That's a dive gate to go through. 2 arches here. There are 3 pylons out over beautiful Lake Zurich, then 6 DCL closed air gates in a tricky tunnel, before we come to the block trade power loops. And there are 4 of these in a row. And then after that, we go to the Casino Pfeffikon Cubes. In and out, in and left and down. Hard left 270 through, in, down, out, round. Yeah. Everybody clear? There will be an exam. When you get back over the land, through the Foxeer gate here, hard under that hurdle, and then we go around again, and we're going to do this 4 times. 4 times. Around that. That track is called No Pressure by Pressure FPV. Shane Adams, our brilliant track designer, who, all of you who are Flight Night fans, sadly didn't crash on that track video. Shame. So that's what we're racing. No pressure. And these pilots have had very, very little time. They only saw this track for the first time just over 1 hour ago. You know what we're like here at the DCL. We have the best pilots in the world, and we set them these phenomenal challenges here for our live Split 1 finals. That track was released to them at 1 hour and 13 minutes ago. What can they do? You are about to be astonished. I have Sally Yuan Alexander here from X-Blades Racing, who were the top of the leaderboard at the end of Split 1's weekly season. The live finals are coming up on the 8th of July. You guys are top seeds. Firstly, Split 1, you ended up on top, but you had a really close rivalry with Quad Force 1 and Raiden and so on. How's the team feeling now that you finished it on top?
It was really close, but the team is pushing hard.
So Split 1 finals, 8th of July. X-Blades expecting to win it?
Of course.
Of course. Do you think it's going to be rocky? Do you think it's going to be difficult? You have a great team.
I can't predict it, but I will be pushed hard and my team will be pushed hard, so I think it will be easy.
Yeah, easy, okay. So X-Blades were the world champions for many years until Raiden took the title in 21 and then held on to it last year. So there must be a particular feeling at X-Blades like, we got to beat Raiden, we got to get that back.
I really want to do that.
Yeah, of course you do. Can you do that?
Of course. Absolutely.
At the end of a really good season, I reckon the best season China Dragons have ever had. James, what do you think?
Yeah, I would definitely agree. It's been the most fun season, and for me, I think I performed my best so far.
With your help, China Dragons, always smiles on their faces. You always look like you're having so much fun, everybody. Fourth at the end of Split number 1. Highest position China Dragons have ever had. Split 1 finals. You guys must be really pleased.
Yeah, we're definitely really happy. To be going up against X-Blades, you know, they're one of the best known teams for being amazing pilots, and now we are also amazing pilots who can go up against them. So I'm really looking forward to that.
So X-Blades against China Dragons is match number 1 here in the Split 1 finals. And when these teams raced each other earlier in the Split 1 season, of course every team raced each other twice. Both of those matches went 4-0 to X-Blades. And China Dragons are here without clone number 1, who you just saw joining us in Dubai at our incredible Thrills for Desert Chills event that we did live a couple of weeks ago. Make sure you check the videos if you haven't seen that already. What a fantastic exhibition race we had there. So China Dragons here with Ion and Chryson, who are still incredible pilots. Ion's been with us a couple of years now. Lucas Baum, Chryson, he's been with us a little bit longer, I think. Both of them really, really solid pilots. But X-Blades, formerly the best in the world, that title now belongs to Raiden Racing. But I've got to say, X-Blades have had an incredible season. They won 17 out of their 18 matchups in Split 1. 17 wins from 18 duels in our best of 7 round robin. Right, X-Blades surely the real challenge to beat today. China Dragons would love to come out of the blocks and hit this one, but I guess realistically maybe they're feeling like, all right, we're going to put in a good solid start here, but this is also probably some track air time. It's going to be a real challenge to beat X-Blades. I know they think they can, I know they want to, but this could be a massive, massive challenge for them. So the pilots have had 1 hour to learn that track that we showed you earlier on. Just 1 hour. They've not been able to fly it since then. Massive test for them. Have I told you that? A massive test for them. 4 laps around this beautiful Rapperswil castle on the shores of Lake Zurich, where we flew our real-life racing and indeed concluded our World Championship at the end of 2018. And we've had great virtual races since then. Let's get it on now. X-Blades against China Dragons, the first race of Split 1 finals, and we are away with X-Blades in light blue and China Dragons in orange, and Ion and Chryson just trying to keep ahead of Yayu, who's been such a solid performer for them. Sully a little bit behind at the beginning now, 1.8 seconds down on the others. Remember, it's 4 laps around here. The ladder is complicated. It's that left-hand entrance towards it and then a right-hand descending ladder, and it's really, really hard You're speeding up as you're heading down to it. Yayu half a second ahead of Ion. Chryson keeping in the fight there as well. And Sally is looking like he's trying to gain. In fact, he's got past Chryson. Maybe a little bit of early nerves or early confusion around this incredibly difficult course. That's the Casino Cubes. We come out of that with Ion, who was in the lead in 4th place. Sully and Yayu first and second, although Chryson wants to step between them. Lap number 2 here. Go over towards the castle through the Torval gates and 2 DCL gates. Under 2 hurdles here over the rooftop. Back through another DCL. Then there's the ladder. Let's see how it straightens things out for everybody now. It's a little bit cleaner for everyone. A better route through. And Salih has got the lead over his teammate Yayu. And Chryson is right there with them as well. Here comes the left-hand swing, the 6 gates. And then the power loops as Chryson weaves in front of Salih 1 and tries to stay there. Into the cubes, up, through, left and down and round. Keep it going. I don't know how they learnt this track in an hour. It's because they're the best in the world. Salih, 2 laps in, 1/10 of a second ahead of Chryson. Yayu, 1/10 of a second behind Chryson and trying to push in front of everybody. But that route over the top and the dive has moved him a little bit closer and maybe taking second from Chryson now. Ion getting a little bit lost and losing a lot of time at the back. 3rd lap here. Look how close they all are on the ladder. That's tremendous flying down through the casino drop gate and heading to the lake with Chryson pushing up. Now 0.05 of a second in front of the 2 pilots from X-Blades. These technical obstacles, we made it super hard for the Split 1 finals. And Chryson on the 4th of the power loops hits the inside of it, and that's lost him a few tenths of a second. Very little, but quite a lot in drone racing. He's 0.3 of a second behind the 2 pilots from X-Blades. And it is 1 point. Winner takes all today. And it is a best of 3, remember, in this stage of our double elimination bracket. And Chryson, I'm not sure if he caught the gate or he missed the entrance, but he swings far away from where he should be. He's now 2 seconds behind both of X-Blades. Yayu's made a bit of a mistake there, which means Salih 1, who was the winner of our racing in Dubai, is clean ahead and out of the picture from all of these. Yayu leads Chryson, but they're 2nd and 3rd. It is Salih 1 who's completing his power loops now and heading to the cubes as everybody else is in the loops. Chryson and Yayu fighting between them for 2nd and 3rd, but it is Salih 1 who's out in front, 1 second ahead of both of them as they come towards the shore and into the finish gate. The first point of the day is Salih's. And as Yayu look, a little bit of relief on his face, but that was a tough race between them. And it is Salih who got that first one. Congratulations to him. It could have been Yayu's, could have been Chryson's, and earlier on in the race it could have been Ion's. Everybody had a turn at trying to take that point home, so we're going to throw them straight into it again. We're not messing around here. Lots of races for you here on Split 1 Finals. China Dragon's put up a really good fight there. Chryson performing very, very well. He wasn't in the top 10 of the pilots this year, as you saw earlier. He was 11th. So he just got missed out of that graphic with 14 wins. So he's very, very capable for the team, as is IQ. Let's see who can keep it clean. X-Blades with the 1-0. Good stuff. Everybody within 0.7 of a second of each other. Ion. Just a tiny fraction between him and Salih 1, and a little bit more now as Yayu has opened up between them. Salih over Yayu, then Ion, and Chryson this time is the pilot who's had early problems and is a few whole seconds behind. Salih and Yayu, 0.007 of a second between them. Ooh. Then it's Ion, and then it's Chryson. Chryson not in the picture just yet, but Ion may be able to make some surprises, although he's lost a few tenths of a second right there. He's now a whole second behind, and Yayu and Salih are basically one drone flying around Switzerland. Let's see how well they can fly here. We'll give them style points if they can do it together. No style points for you. Salih flies off, and Yayu has a few bumps around it, and Ion's had some more too. Chryson is just not in this race at all. after he was challenging so well in heat number 1. So Sali, 1 second ahead of his teammate Yayu. And Sali won when he was the pilot who came out to Dubai for our Thrills for Desert Chills for X-Blades Racing. I was thinking he wasn't the strongest performer on the team, and as you saw on the leaderboard earlier on, Yayu has got 21 and Star has got 15 wins this season. Sali wasn't in that mix. He's only had 1 win this entire season leading up to today's finals, but he has just turned into an incredible pilot in recent weeks. Over a number of weeks, of course, during our season. And was so good and calm and got a little bit nervous, he said, after he got his first race win in Dubai, but then he went on to win well over half of the entire races and winning the whole event overall. So I don't think he'll be getting too nervous here, but we'll see how he continues. Sali still now 0.7 of a second ahead of Yayu, and look how quickly Yayu is flying, like he desperately wanted to beat the pilot in front of him, but that is why we have a new Caster Curse emote. So those of you who are subscribers, there's a new emote for you when I do stuff like that. The block trade, power loop, that's very confident flying by Yayu, shaking off that crash he had earlier. But Ion is nowhere near him in this race, and Chryson further away. Sali's got this one, and it is 2-0 to X-Blades. Nice and straightforward for them. Congratulations to X-Blades. Sali getting 2 points there. Brilliant racing by him. Yayu very close behind him at times as well. X-Blades Racing beat China Dragons in our first series of the day. That best of 3 going 2-0 to X-Blades. That means X-Blades will progress into the next race in our main event side of our bracket. And China Dragons will find themselves with only 1 life now. They'll drop down to the Elimination Zone, where they will face the winner of Cyclone Racing and STT Perpetuum Coin when that comes along in a little while. Let's go and have a chat with some of our pilots. Our first interview of the day, now that they've found their way around No Pressure.
This was not the semi-finals.
Yayu! Welcome. Yayu, that was a great first race by X-Blades. You must be very pleased to get off to a 2-0 start. Yayu, Swan, can you hear me? Well, yes, Matt.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
Yayu!
Oh.
I hope you can hear me, Yayu. Well done on that 2-0 win.
Thanks. Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, no problems. I was just saying, you must be very pleased to have opened today with a 2-0 win.
Yeah, that's great. What a nervous result, but yeah, Sali did an amazing job. I crashed 2 times, so that's too many. But like, yeah, Sali just do amazing. So that's perfect for the team. That's the most important.
You only had 1 hour to learn this track. What do you think about it?
Yeah, the track is very great, and yeah, like long track is always harder, but like this one is pretty great. Like, yeah, I like it.
You were racing very well, although Sali got the wins. You were right in the fight for them as well. You must be pleased.
Yeah. The most important is the first place. So thanks to Sali, we won the first race. So that's perfect. And now let's go to the final.
Yeah. And I can see Star is in the chat saying, good start, keep it going, boys. I can see Shane is in the chat as well, so you're getting a lot of support. I'll see you later on. Well done, you're our first winners of today. Yes, their support coming in from their teammates, of course. So, X-Blades start off in winning ways with their 2 4-0 wins over China Dragons earlier on in the season. Okay, perhaps that doesn't come as a surprise, like I mentioned, but China Dragons, Chryson was flying well in the first race. Ion flying pretty solidly in the first race too. Let's now talk to them, I think. You guys finished the leaderboard in second. Sometimes it was you on top, sometimes it was X-Blades. It was so close all season, you were tied.
Yeah.
Did it hurt to come second?
I mean, it's honestly not a bad place to be in.
Oh.
Yeah, so it was a little bit sad to see that first place spot go. But yeah, again, second isn't a bad place to be. I'm pretty confident that we can be out Raiden and go back into finals with X-Blades maybe and take the win there.
There you go. Because you were second and Raiden was third, you guys have been paired against each other in the first round. So if you lose a match, okay, you're not out of the tournament yet. But you're going to face Raiden, first of all, who are current world champions. How's that feel for you?
Yeah, like I said, I think we have a pretty good shot about winning it, but they are a great team, so you never know what's going to happen. I think Propsicle has been really strong for us this year. It's been amazing, and having that strong of a pilot, I think we can work really well together and take the win there. So.
Let's talk about Split 1.
Yeah.
Been enjoying your racing, but I guess Raiden will be disappointed. Having won the World Championship the last 2 years, you finished Split 1 in third.
I mean, I've started with Raiden Racing being on 8, and we changed to 4th. So we had like really good moments and really bad moments, and I really feel like there will be such a different thing Split 2 than Split 1. A lot of things can happen there. We feel motivated about it.
Good.
We race Quad Force 1 on the first, and we're really happy about it because we want to face X-Blades at the finals.
Okay, you have Quad Force 1 first.
Yeah.
You reckon you just got that sorted and you're just going to win that one?
I mean, it would be hard. They are really good.
Yes.
But we really believe in ourselves. We have been putting a lot of work, not just the pilots, the whole team, all the Japanese guys at the office. And we always figure something out, so we will do one more time.
And if you're going to be in the final, is it X-Blades you want to beat in the final again?
Yeah, it's X-Blades, definitely. We are really hungry. Yeah.
Them's fighting words from Vincent Mines there, the Spanish pilot for Raiden Racing and the number 2 pilot in the Split 1 scores with 46 wins for his team. So it is Quad Force 1 against Raiden that we have to look forward to now. These teams, when they've met earlier on in the season, have got 1 win each. Quad Force 1 beat Raiden 4-2 and Raiden beat Quad Force 1 4-3. The win for Raiden was when they had IQ flying for them, and the loss, he wasn't there. So can he be the difference? Let's find out. Raiden in yellow with IQ 0 and Vincent Mines. Blue, that's Leviathan and Propsicle. And the little stopwatch you see in the bottom left of the screen is a 1 second penalty for Propsicle as he jumped the start. Went too soon, so he gets a 1 second penalty with no throttle. Nevertheless, he's gained a quarter of a second in time, as you can see, but that's why he's currently at the back. Mines and IQ out in front. Leviathan, 0.2 of a second behind the lead, and slipping past IQ into second place. Propsicle trying to gain on all of the others, but that slow start is holding him back at least a bit for now. Mines weaves out of the cubes, heads to the land, and IQ is a 1/10 of a second behind Leviathan. Up and over the rooftops we go. And now we'll duck and go on board briefly with Levi. Mines, 1/10 of a second, then Leviathan. 1 or 2 tenths of a second between him and IQ, and out of the ladder we head. This is Leviathan now trying to keep up. Propsicle has moved past IQ, who has just wrecked his race and gone 7 and 6 seconds behind. So it is all going to be on Mines, but he's no stranger to the pressure, and he's no stranger to leading a race or in second trying to secure it either. I've said many times he's the strongest finisher in the DCL. Let's see what he can do here as Levi is trying to go in front of him and they are side by side, so close. Propsicle not too far out of this thing either. Halfway through this race, we'll go for lap number 3. Mines with very close company from Quad Force 1. Propsicle a little bit further behind, but barely anything in it. Propsicle now in the lead. Mines a 1/10 of a second behind him. There's IQ just crossing the lake as everybody else is coming behind him to the power loops. Levi and Prop are getting this working for Quad Force 1. Mines is now having a fight to keep up with them, and we're still on lap 3, so he's got time, and Levi's got into a model in the casino cubes. He's not come out until now. He's lost 1 and a bit seconds, which is a lot with 1 lap to go. Propsicle then Vincent Mayans. Good support coming in the chat, enjoying it. Laws cheering on Quad Force 1. Propsicle has gone from a 1 second penalty to the lead, and is still there ahead of Mayans, and they both ladder and come out nicely. Mayans, slightly different route into the drop cube, and still chasing Propsicle. It's now 0.3 of a second. Prop's route through the drop cube has given him a couple more tenths now. They're both heading up to these power loops. They've got to get all 4 of them nice and tight. Mayans heads through. We've gone to the finish gate a little bit too soon. We've got the cubes to go yet. Propsicle surely looking like he could win this over Mayans with just a couple of turns left to go. And Mayans now trying to stick with him. Can he get him on the final turn? No, it is Propsicle roaring with his win over Mayans by 0.2 of a second after he had a second penalty before he could begin. What a tremendous race by him. Look how happy he is with that. Whoa! Propsicle gets the first point for Quad Force 1. What a comeback, says Raspberry of X-Blades. Yes, what a comeback indeed. Blonde Angel FPV, so close. Yayu is a GG prop where you guys might be racing later on. I love it when our pilots get into the chat when they've just been racing and they're watching how everybody else is getting on as well. And the Cyclone Racing team, you guys are up next, but keep the support coming in the chat. Oh my. Propsicle in a time of just fractionally under 3 minutes, 179.17. 259.17 if you prefer some minutes. So, what can Raiden do about that? Very much Mayans in a fight there. IQ, 0. Big Arms Gabe. Let's get him involved, Raiden. Yayu, of course, cheering on X-Blades. Matteo from Raiden Racing. Good to see you here, Matteo. See what your teammates can do. Propsicle's in the lead already, and he came back and won that last race with a 1 second penalty at the beginning. So, pretty deadly to see him out in front at the moment. Prop and Vincent Mayans with less than 100th of a second between them. Mayans just slips past Propsicle to the cubes. All 4 pilots in this within 0.3. Up and over and back. Split S-ing their way halfway through and out with Mayans just ahead of Propsicle now, and IQ scrapping with Leviathan for 3rd and 4th. Round start lap number 2. Up and over Rapperswil Castle. Remember, these pilots had 1 hour to learn this track just before we went live with today's finals. That's the challenge they have to do here in the DCL. And look how well they're all flying. Propsicle finds himself in last place at the moment. We're on board with him as he tries to chase down what was his lead. This is a bit like he was in the first race, so he could probably do it from here. But IQ is between them at the moment. Mayans is now slipped to the back and Propsicle's past him. It's going to be IQ fighting for the lead out in front, as Mayans has lost loads of time recovering from the crash he had. I didn't quite see where it was. But you can see him there completing the lap and moving on to the second, way behind, 6 seconds behind everybody else. It's Leviathan out in front, then IQ and Propsicle. We're seeing Mayans here who's down in 4th place. Levi up front, stretching away from IQ. Here's Prop's view in 3rd place into the dive cube and out. Trying to move past IQ, and he does. It's Leviathan who's in front of him now. Mayans down in 4th place. Still in 4th place. Then it's Propsicle in 3rd. IQ and Leviathan who's out in front. This is still Mayans trying to catch up with the rest of the pack. Here's Levi who's in 3rd. 2nd place now. He's alongside IQ. Propsicle is 2nd, out in front. Propsicle from the front to the back to the front again, and it's the 4th lap through the tunnel there. Propsicle sees Mayans just zip along behind him as he's a huge gap behind now. It's Propsicle and Levi in 1st and 2nd. Propsicle out in front, then Leviathan, IQ 0 3rd. Mayans is in 4th place. What we need to see is the front, where Propsicle has already won it for Levi. in second. Quad Force 1 making this a 2-0 win. Propsicle again, as Yayu says in the chat. That is 2-0. Propsicle leading Quad Force 1 to a 2-0 win. Raiden fighting all the way, but it was Propsicle getting it done up the top there. Levi not far behind him, though. He was 2 seconds behind him in the first race and less than that in the second. Just better, says King FPV. Big statement there. Quad Force 1 will, as a result of that, progress through our main event bracket to race X-Blades in a little while. Let's talk to some pilots. Propsicle and Levi with big handsome smiles on your faces. Propsicle, let's start with you. 2 wins there. You look delighted.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I'm just trying to start off where I left off, the split finals. I ended with the most points, so I'm just looking to carry all that momentum into this race. I'm not going to let this one go, so that's the goal.
Together with that race, you've now got 50 wins for Quad Force 1 in 2023. That was your 49 and 50th just then. They weren't all yours all the time, though. You were front, you were back, you were front again. Can you talk to us through that first race in particular? You had a throttle penalty, but you still managed to win it.
Yeah, I mean, I just kind of jumped the gun a little early. First race, there's always a little bit of nerves involved, so, just went for it a little too early, and naturally, that takes about a second off. You get held back for a second on the start blocks. So after that, I was just like, all right, well, if there's any time to prove my skill, now's the time. I don't care about this disadvantage. I'm going to go out there and fly better than all these guys, regardless of that. So I just went out there and I proved that, and it felt great. It was a great battle of Thunder all the way to the end. I was just like holding on for dear life those last few turns. So that was an awesome battle.
Leviathan coming in behind your teammate. Well, if anyone is going to beat you to the gate, I guess Propsicle. It's not such a bad thing.
Yeah, I mean, I love having him on the team, but sometimes he's a little too good for me. So
you had moments in those races as well where you were at the front of that. The challenge from Raiden was mostly in Mayan's hands. How do you feel after your first races on this track, Levi?
I feel pretty solid. I mean, like Prop said, I had a few bobbles because you're nervous first race. But overall, I think, I feel good on the track and ready to do some more racing, and hopefully I take the win here.
Yeah, so you haven't had long to learn these tracks either, of course. You make it through to a match against X-Blades, who beat China Dragons 2-0 earlier on as well, so you guys are going to fight. And it is possible, of course, in a dual elimination series that you might end up fighting again in the finals, but one step at a time. You got X-Blades in the next round. You happy to be meeting them? Were you expecting to meet them?
Yeah, I think we're probably expecting it. They've been top of the leaderboard all season, but I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to the matchup. We went 1-1 against them in groups. We had one loss against them, and then our final race with them, we had a really close matchup on, I think, Pulpit Rock, and we ended up taking that. So I don't know. I wanna make that score not even. I want to go 2-1 against them. So that's what I'm looking towards now.
Well, the X-Blades won 17 out of 18 races this season. The only loss they had. Yeah, you guys. Let's see if it can be another one later on. Propsicle Leviathan, well done. 2-0. Great way to start the event. So that's Quad Force 1 putting 2-0 in. So as I say, they're going to progress to place X-Blades. Whereas Raiden Racing will now lose a life and drop down to the elimination bracket. We'll see them in a little while. But first match from our elimination bracket is coming up now. It is Cyclone against SDT Perpetuum Coin. Do or die time here. It's the elimination side of things. Whoever loses this race is out of the Split 1 finals. But let's go back to when I was chatting with the pilots in Dubai about how they felt Split 1 had gone for them so far. No, let's not. Let's go racing. They're already racing. We'll carry on and talk to them later on. But let's get into this. Cyclone and STT can't keep them hanging around. They've decided to get racing. All right, I'm ready if you are. So the purple drones, that is Zion and the Ice Cheetah, and the green drones, that is STT's Danube and Silvio. And we're on board with Silvio, who is falling to pieces at the back. He's got a 1-second penalty like Propsicle had earlier. He jumped at the start, perhaps a little bit too eager. Zion is out in front. He is 0.3 of a second ahead of Danube. And then it's the Ice Cheetah and Silvio in fourth. So this is a good strong start for Zion. The Ice Cheetah's racked up many more wins in the season so far. Zion with 4, the Ice Cheetah with 18. Silvio's had 28, Danoob's had 15, so everybody in this race has got a lot more wins except for the current leader, Zion FPV, who's on his second lap now, 0.3 of a second ahead of Danoob, who we're watching come through the cube and head now to the lake, still behind him, in fact a little bit further behind him. Zion is doing a great flying hit, half a second between him and Danoob. Zion, 0.9 of a second, half a second ahead of Danoob. Silvio gets past the Ice Cheetah, who's having problems now at the back of the race. Zion still extending that lead as we go on to lap number 3. What was a few tenths became half a second, is now basically a second over Danoob. This is brilliant flying by him. He's got to keep it going for the second half of the race, and this will be really important if Cyclone can get a win over SDT. These teams were 1-1. During the season, SDT 1-4-3, Cyclone beat them 4-1. In fact, the only team out of these 6 that SDT managed to beat in Split 1, just out of these 6 teams today, the only one that they managed to beat was Cyclone. So they should have been confident coming into this, but Zion is leaving them behind. We've seen not a lot of Zion. We've seen so much more of the Ice Cheetah and J-Box during the season, but look at this racing from Zion. He can't afford to make any mistakes as Silvio is ready to pounce on him if he does. This is Danoob's view of his teammate Silvio in second, who's trying to catch Zion, who's out in front. Danoob is barely hanging on to Silvio. Silvio, on the other hand, is gaining fractionally on Zion. Danoob is out of the race now after hitting that part. Silvio's view here is Zion is ahead of him but wider than him, and then cuts across on the final bit of the Lake Zurich turn. This is the final lap now between Zion and Silvio. We go power looping between the two of them. Silvio has got past Zion at that last moment, now into the cubes, and Zion with 0.6 of a second between him and Silvio. The last turns coming up towards the final. Will it be Silvio? Will it be Zion? It was Zion all the way. It is Zion at the end. By 0.07 of a second over Silvio. Great time from him. Remember, he had that 1 second penalty. What a finish. What a point for Cyclone. And it is Zion, pilot, who gets it for Cyclone Racing. What an achievement by him to beat out everybody else who've scored so many more wins than him all season. Zion FPV. Wow. Well, full stick, full send, and keeping it under pressure as well. All credit to Zion there. Just constantly under fight from Silvio mostly. Danoob never really kind of getting too close to the lead there. But Silvio, and in the cubes, in the casino cubes, which are one of the toughest obstacles I think we've ever had, suddenly just maybe getting a glimpse of Silvio just edging in front of you. Some pilots would see that and panic. Not Zion there, turning that into a point for Cyclone. That's phenomenal. Now remember, and breathe. And remember, these are best of 3s at this stage. So, Cyclone have got 1 win over SDT. SDT, Silvio and Danoob, have to win this race right now, or SDT Perpetuum Coin from Spain are the first team to be eliminated from the DCL Split 1 finals. Zion starts off at the front. We're on board with Danoob, who is a few tenths of a second behind the other 3 pilots, but early in the race, everybody very close. Silvio gets through the ladder a bit better than Danoob did, and the Ice Cheetah just falls into 4th place now as Danoob just edges past him. That ladder was a bit awkward and clumsy. I told you how difficult it is. It's a left-hand sweeping turn to it, but also you've got to descend, you've got to duck quite a long way to get there, so you're gaining speed, and then into a right-hand descending ladder, sort of accelerating all the time. It's a real challenge. Now Zion seems to like this course as he's currently edging the lead, although Silvio just slips by him just as I start mentioning Zion, and Silvio back in front of him again. And Danoob, Silvio! And Danoob! And then it's the Ice Cheetah. Where is Zion in all of this? He's in 4th place. A bit of a bump from them. He's nevertheless managed to get past the Ice Cheetah, who's now down in 4th place. It's just not working today for the Ice Cheetah yet. He's going to have to warm up and get to grips with this track we call No Pressure around Lake Zurich. Silvio is away. Look, there's not another drone close to him until they all zip towards the power loops. No, but Silvio is out and will have the cubes all to himself. No need for him to panic about any drones in his vision. If they are, it's a green one and it's his teammate Danube. Zion's got past Danube though. Danube's gone to the back. That's all come undone for him and gone a bit wrong. Let's take a look at the front. That is Silvio, who's got a 1, 2, 3 second lead on lap number 3 over Zion FPV. So Zion needs to fly as cleanly as he did just now. And Silvio, can he get through the rest of this without making any mistakes? Well, Zion's got him for company in the ladder. And in the drop gate, he comes out now. He's a little bit twitchy, keeping it off the ground. Managed to do so, though. That's the main thing. Silvio out on Lake Zurich. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 DCL gates. 4 block trade power loops. And nearly 3 seconds between this drone and Silvio, who's out in the lead. We're seeing Zion weave his way around the cubes. That is so hard to learn. That's the view on board. 1.6 seconds. And look at the other times. It has gone to pieces for the Ice Cheetah. And Danube has never been 56 seconds behind anybody, I'm sure. It's going to clock a minute and more, perhaps. In fact, he is disconnected, so maybe a bigger problem there for Danube. Silvio, got to do this all by himself. And if Danube is having problems, well, if this race continues as it is, then it's going to be 1-1 between these pilots, and they'll need Danube in for the third match of this best of 3, or Silvio's going to have to do it all single-handedly. Right now, it looks like he can beat Cyclone to the finish. He is 2 seconds ahead of Zion, and the Ice Cheetah is not in this at all at the moment. Heading out of the lake now to the lands. Very few turns left. Silvio heading towards the finish gate and gets the point ahead of Zion. And Danube, not sure if he quit out that race or disconnected for some reason. It's not usual you see a pilot leave a race during it. Silvio keeps STT not just alive in this match, but in the whole tournament. So, look at this. 1-1 between Cyclone and STT. Now, I think that's a fair result so far because, you know, they are 1-1 during the season. As I mentioned, it was 4-3 one way, it was 4-1 the other way. Who can keep this together now, though? Zion is performing so well. Such a good race from him. But no, it is 1 point to the winners, so it's 1 point to each team. Kenny's in the chat, Kenrick FPV from China Dragons. Now, I was saying we should talk to the pilots beforehand while we let them get ready for this do-or-die race. Let's show you how the pilots felt coming into it. Your first time in the DCL, Cyclone's racing first time in the DCL. Yep. You've made it to our live finals. You're in the top 6 teams. What an incredible start for you.
Incredibly happy about the result my team was able to accomplish, and just a great group of guys that we're working with now. Yeah. And we did very well for our first year here. So
how did you do it? What do you reckon was the secret to that? Because of those 6 places, 5 of them have been taken by the teams who've been in the DCL for a few years. That's not unexpected, but you were the team who broke into it.
I think going at it kind of relaxed. You know, we just had a great mindset on flying fast, pushing hard, and staying relaxed, and that consistency was real important as well. So when we were able to do all those things, we were able to get some wins. So that really helped. A lot of hard work. So we definitely accomplished everything we wanted to, for sure.
Your thoughts of this season must have been, well, it'd be great if we can make finals. That's the first step, right?
Yeah.
You've got STT Perpetuum going from Spain as the opening battle at the live finals on the 8th of July. How do you feel about that?
I feel good about it. I think we're a very evenly matched team, and so it could be anyone's match at that point. But since we're in the elimination round, we're gonna have to win every single heat or every single race. So it's going to be a battle, but we're going to put a lot of hard work into it to make sure we can secure a victory there. So they're going to expect a fight, that's for sure. Yeah. That, Silvio, what a season! We've had Split 1 coming to an end on the 8th of July with our live finals. You guys are going to be there. STT Perpetuum Coin are in the Split 1 finals.
You have had an amazing season yourself, so you must be feeling good.
Yeah, I'm feeling excited about my performance, my team's performance. Danube is doing great.
Yeah.
I think the team is doing very, very good. Everyone is like working together. I think we can do a good job in the finals. So,
what have you done yourself? Because I think your flying is, like, you've scored so many points for your team. You're the highest point scorer for SDT. What have you been doing to, like, up your game?
I think I changed a little bit of how I was thinking. So I started practicing a lot more, spending more time, and also being more consistent. So training like in the morning, afternoon, so a lot of hours.
Everybody wants to win.
Yeah.
SDT are already having the best season you've ever had.
Yeah.
What's your, like, realistic thoughts about the finals? You think you can win?
I'm hoping we can win a Cyclone. Honestly, I think we can really push and having a good final, good spectacle.
Yeah.
So this is gonna be very, very good final.
It is Cyclone Racing. You're going to be racing against the 5th and 6th place teams.
Yeah.
And you start in the elimination zone, so you've only, like, the loser of that is out.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about taking on Cyclone in particular?
I think we can really try it, and maybe we can win Cyclone. And who knows, maybe we can win someone.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, the finishing times between the pilots there, particularly in that second race, super close. The charge definitely coming from Zion, definitely coming from Silvio. The Ice Cheetah, a little bit of a surprise here. He's clearly struggling a little bit with this new track that we have around Lake Zurich. What a great pilot he is. And there's so much camaraderie between all these teams. It was such a pleasure chatting with them all out in Dubai. That was an exhibition race. This is your lifeline in the Split 1 final. Cyclone against SDT. The winner of this race progresses to the next round. And that is the next race as well, so they're going to have no time to rest. The loser of this leaves the Split 1 finals. Who will it be? We start off early on lap number 1 with a good solid start by everybody, half a second between all 4 of them. And it's Cyclone at the front and SDT, but now the stripes start to happen. Silvio slips a little bit closer. Slips past the Ice Cheetah. It does look like from those last 2 races, Zion and Silvio are the pilots who've got a little bit more of a handle on this track. There's Silvio doing a great job around the power loops, but Zion is already a little bit further behind, as is the Ice Cheetah. This is coming undone early for Cyclone Racing here. Silvio and Danube have nearly a second over the 2 pilots from their opposition. And SDT do not want to be the first team eliminated from here. Remember, they finished the Split 1 season after the 18 weeks in 6th place, but they'll feel like they should have been 5th, as they were one of the 5 teams who've continued from previous years, not one of the 5 teams who joined this year. Oh, and that is a bit of a bump and a crash for Danube. That's going to ruin his chances. That's going to cost him a ton of time. So Silvio now, as I mentioned earlier on in the last race, it looks like it's going to be him who has to do it. Well, Danube had a problem earlier, which is why he had to drop out of the second race, but he was in 4th place when he did. Silvio is in the lead here, and Zion has to catch him. We are getting to the halfway stage of this race. There goes the start of lap number 3, and Zion is 0.8 of a second to keep Cyclone in the Split 1 finals. Through the DCL gates he goes. That was a good tight turn. That's gained a 10th or 2 on Silvio. Now he's got to catch him with 2 laps to go. Left into the ladder, right hand around it is quick from Zion, a little bit angular, but he's managed to make it work. Silvio down through the 2 arches to the lake, and it is Zion trying to keep up with him now. It's 0.8 of a second still between these pilots, between SDT going through and Cyclone going through into the power loops. Zion flying well here. The Ice Cheetah and Danube are way behind. Zion's caught the last of the power loops. A little too hasty on the exit. Is that it for Cyclone Racing now? Silvio away, heading towards the start of the final lap between these teams, and Zion hitting another obstacle again. It is all coming undone for the purple team of Cyclone Racing. They made such a big impact in their first time in the DCL, joining the main event here in 2023. We're top of the leaderboard back in sort of weeks 1 and week 2. Managing to stay in the top 6 all the time. I'm not sure they even went lower than 5th, other than maybe briefly. But right now, Silvio is out in front to the support of his teammates. The Ice Cheetah and Zion are way behind. Danube is close to them, but that doesn't matter. That's a fight in 4th. Silvio now completes the Casino Faficon cubes, heads back to land with 1 or 2 turns to go. That finish is the Ice Cheaters! And Cyclone eliminates SDT on the last turn of the track, and the faces of our 4 pilots on screen, none of them can believe it. The Ice Cheater had no business winning that race, was never in the fight for it, but got it at the end. Then Zion, who is elated, and SDT coming in 3rd and 4th and are out of the Split 1 finals. The Ice Cheater, great pilot for Cyclone Racing throughout Split 1, hadn't been in his groove here on this track, but it comes undone for Silvio and Danube at the last stages. And Cyclone go through. It is Cyclone Racing who win, and SDT are eliminated. Oh my god! What a shocker! Not before that series. If you told me Ice Cheater is going to help Cyclone knock out SDT, I'd have gone, yeah, I can believe that. But after seeing those first 2 races, Cyclone was nowhere near, the Ice Cheater in particular, was nowhere near beating SDT and winning those. That's why you always fight to the end. That's why you never stop. Silvio was in the lead with a couple of seconds to spare, but just on the last of the turns, we cut to the finish gate, just expecting in comes a green drone. No, it's a purple one, a couple of seconds behind. Cyclone Racing are in the next round. And SDT Perpetuum Coin leave us at the Split 1 finals. First match of the Elimination Zone. Wow. Let's go talk with Silvio and Danube, who are in some shock at the moment. Silvio, Danube, I hope you can hear me. Guys, what a finish. Silvio, tell us what happened to you.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you, Matt.
Silvio, that was incredible racing throughout all 3 of those races. Commiserations to you. What happened at the end?
Oh, I was full focus on my race. I couldn't look at how many laps I was. So
you headed on to another lap?
That happened. Yeah.
Oh, Silvio, that's awful. I'm so sorry for you. Danube was close as well. Danube, your racing there was it good seeing Silvio charging all the time for your team?
I crashed 2 times, but I couldn't take the first place. So
yeah. Silvio goes on to a 5th lap when it was a 4-lap race. Oh, commiserations, guys. That is heartbreak for you. There's a lot of people supporting you both here in chat. Is there anything you want to say to all the people who've been cheering you on?
Yeah, thank you, everybody. But I don't know. Sometimes these things happen. I don't know.
Yeah. Silvio, Danube, it's been a fantastic Split 1, particularly for you guys. Thank you for all the great racing you've given us. I can't wait to see what SDT do in Split 2. But commiserations, guys. You're out of the Split 1 finals. Oh. Silvio, that's why we missed it, because he headed on to start a 5th lap. Oh, my. I mean, these pilots, let me tell you again, and I will tell you this all along because I champion our pilots so much. 1 hour to learn this track. 1 hour. Just focused on getting it right, but not that it was 4 laps. I mean, we've never had a 5-lap race. We had 6 laps out in Dubai, but that was a different elimination. That was an exhibition series. Let's go chat to Cyclone. The Ice Cheater and Zion. I don't know how the shock is setting in for you, but your faces when that race ended is something you should go back and see at some point. How do you feel, the Ice Cheater?
I feel great. A whirlwind of emotions, you know. I feel bad for them at the same time as excited for us. So it's awesome. So I'm happy to take it.
I imagine, you'll take it, as you say, but I don't know if you heard the interview with Silvio just there, but he started a 5th lap. He wasn't keeping track of his laps.
Yeah.
It's a 4-lap race. Many of our races are 3, sometimes they're 4, depending on track length. He started another one. We were all looking at the finish gate, and then you turn up. So, Tell us how the emotions were when you flew into that finish gate, the Ice Cheetah, and then realised you're the only one in there.
Well, it was like, whoa, I'm the only. Why am I in front? I I didn't think that was gonna happen. I didn't get the word that he had started the next lap, a fifth lap, and when I saw it up there, I was like, whoa, that's cool. Felt really good, and then I saw him and I felt really bad because I met him in Dubai and he's a really cool guy. So
yes,
I felt really bad.
Yeah,
I wanted to
and Zion.
And say,
sorry,
you know,
Zion FPV. A win's a win, right? That keeps Cyclone in the tournament. Yeah. It's not a win. You were beaten in that race. Let's be honest, guys. You were beaten by Silvio, but a win's a win. Cyclone, carry on. That must feel great.
It definitely does. We're super happy with this.
Yeah. So how do you like the track? Because Zion, you were phenomenal on that first run. You obviously really like it.
Yeah, I think it's a really good track. It's got some really nice flow while still being really technical and difficult. It's a great place for a lot of places to switch back and forth, as we've seen.
The Ice Cheetah, you haven't quite got it dialed in, or have you?
Not really. I think I need more time on tracks like these typically, but yeah, I would eventually, and I think it's not quite in my wheelhouse. There's just I like a little bit more of a flowy track, and this one's still a great track, and it's suited for some of our pilots on our team, so it's good that we have two pilots here that can take different tracks and track skills as well.
That's a really strong way of having a team and lining up for races.
Yeah.
Guys, you're going to get a bit more airtime on this one because you continue. You are in the next round, which is coming up next, so go and get ready. Yeah, that race is happening as our next matchup as well. What a finish. Commiserations to Silvio. That's heartbreaking. I haven't come across that in all the years I've been a racing commentator. What a race, though. Silvio and Zanu showing us how quick they are. So let's show you how our tournament is progressing after our first 3 matches in round 1. Our Split 1 finals. X-Blades beat China Dragons 2-0, which sees X-Blades progress to our first of the semi-finals, and Quad Force 1 beat Raiden Racing 2-0, so those two teams will race off in semi-final number 1. China Dragons follow the red path. You don't want the red path, that's the ones that take you to the elimination zone. China Dragons head down. They are going to be Cyclone Racing's opponents in the very next best of 3. Raiden Racing will await the winner of that. Raiden go into round 3 elimination zone, so they will face the winner of Cyclone Racing and China Dragons. So yeah, if you end up in the elimination zone, you have to win every race from that point onwards. Cyclone Racing will have China Dragons. If they win that, they'll have Raiden. If they win that, they'll face the loser of X-Blades Racing and Quad Force 1, and one of those teams is getting the shortcut to the grand final later on today. The first team to fall, SDT. The next series, it is China Dragons and Cyclone Racing, who have just made it in by the skin of their teeth, and not really their teeth, to be honest, by Silvio's. China Dragons earlier on were beaten 2-0 by X-Blades Racing, so here comes two teams with a sort of a different mindset, you know. So we will find out how these two teams can line up against each other in a moment. So let's discuss these teams. So China Dragons racing here without clone number 1, who was so good all the time throughout split number 1. Clone number 1 winning up loads and loads of races. Terrific performance from him, but he can't be here in these finals. So now you've got Ion, and now you've got Chryson Racing, our pilots from India and Germany, and China Dragons. You know, I've mentioned this a few times about Raiden Racing. China Dragons is a team who a few years ago in our real-life racing series were finishing a season just being eliminated again and again and again. We used to do, back in the day, fans of DCL, we used to do the real-life racing series pre-COVID, pre-pandemic, and there were times in our, what was a knockout bracket when China Dragons would come and they would race and get eliminated in the first race of the day and they were done. And we used to do weekend races, so on Sunday we do it all again, and China Dragons would turn up on Sunday and they would lose the first race and they were done. Here they are in Split 1 finals, having made it 4th in the season and were wanting to get into sort of 3rd for a while. Now they're making it to the Split 1 finals. Can they progress from this point? Yeah, on paper, you know, they should beat Cyclone Racing. When these teams met earlier on in the season, it was one each way. Cyclone Racing beat China Dragons 4-1, but China Dragons beat them 4-0 on their other matchup, because of course everyone raced twice. So, yeah, challenging. 1-1 in these teams coming up. Let's show you who we're talking about. The Ice Cheetah and Zion against Ion and Chryson. So I just mentioned Ion racing out of Bangalore in India, and Chryson racing from Germany. That's Lucas Bohm. The opponents, the Ice Cheetah and Zion, who are both racing out of the US, and the time differences are quite astonishing there. I think Ion is 4 hours ahead of Central Europe, and I think Zion is 6 hours behind Central Europe. So, massive differences for them. The Ice Cheetah and Zion from Cyclone Racing. What do you do now you've just won that race that you were in? What do you do? Do you think, right, okay, we can charge forward and get the next win because we're still here? That's the attitude they need to carry in, but you've got to shake that doubt from your mind that, no, as I mentioned today, we're roundly beaten by Silvio until Silvio made a mistake. Can they do it again? Kite says, win again! That's the idea, isn't it? We're going to have to get that done for them. So, Ion and Chryson against the Ice Cheetah and Zion. Ion versus Zion. That's alright, isn't it? Chryson versus Cheetah. This is all organised very nicely. These pilots, we can go over numbers, we can talk about how they've done all season long, but it comes up to now, doesn't it? Blonde Angel says, have Cyclone recovered from the shock and elation yet? Well, from chatting with the Ice Cheetah and Zion just now, it looked very much like they're just pleased, and yes, they're realistically thinking, okay, you know, we were beaten in that one. Zion likes this track. The Ice Cheetah said he hasn't got it figured out yet. It's not his kind of thing. It is one of the most technical tracks we've ever had. Shane Adam, our track designer, who you might know as Pressure FPV, he has deliberately designed this with more elevation challenges, like I mentioned, coming down into the ladder. That's a really hard part of it as well. But also the cubes, the casino cubes are absolutely deadly. When this track is released in DCL the game, as always, I always set you this challenge. When it's out in DCL the game, remember that's on PlayStation and Xbox, PC and Mac, you try and learn this track in an hour and see how well you do. Finally, the Drone Champions League comes to the Middle East. This is Dubai, and welcome to DCL's Thrills for Desert Chills. Welcome to Chugakva from Haven Airborne, who is in our chat saying, why is it only me that gets eliminated in that video? Oh, Chugakva, that's... You weren't even the first one to be eliminated, Chugakva. It was such a great pleasure meeting you out there as well in Dubai. Yeah, that's harsh. Other pilots are also eliminated, not just Chug. Gabri's in chat as well, cheering on from Alpha Prop Racing. Welcome to you. We're about to see Cyclone Racing race China Dragons in the fourth match of our Split 1 finals. Cyclone coming into this from scraping a win over the very keen Silvio, who just couldn't stop himself racing. SDT Perpetuum coin fell in that matchup. Cyclone need to carry their confidence and their racing into a matchup with China Dragons. So, yeah, the pilots are just about getting ready. We're just giving them a little bit more warm-up time or cool-down time, depending on how you feel, from Cyclone Racing. Before we go and attack this really challenging track again, no pressure is what it's called. It will be released in-game. That's the challenge I said to you just now. See if you can learn the cubes in an hour. Never mind all the rest of it. But this is it, then. Cyclone and China Dragons. It's do or die time again. The best of three starts for these pilots. Cyclone in purple, China Dragons in orange. Ion and Chryson switching around at the front. Zion and the Ice Cheetah switching around at the front. Why? Because they're all within 1/10 of a second of each other. That's why. What a solid start. Everybody out of the dive cube except Chryson, who was in it, rattling from one side to another. This leaves a similar situation as we saw in the opening match of today. Chryson at the back, Ion at the front, and in between them. It's not X-Blades this time, it's Cyclone. But remember, with those races against X-Blades, they managed to get past both of the China Dragons pilots. Can Cyclone do that here? Well, it's 0.4 of a second between Zion and Ion, which is sounding like a song. Over the top of Rapperswil Castle. Back through the DCL closed air gates. Now, Ion getting a little bit caught in a ladder by Zion, and then the Ice Cheetah still close to them now. This is a stronger race here for the Ice Cheetah. He didn't like this course as much as Zion does, who we're on board with, but he's very much still in the fight of it here. Half a second behind the lead. So if Zion struggles here, then maybe we can do something about it. My boss is in the chat asking me why me talks about Chug out for getting eliminated? That's not even my face, Drone Champions League. Who's that? Ion, 1/10 of a second over Zion. Then the Ice Cheetah has lost that little bit of time now. He was keeping it together very well for the first two laps. Still Ion over Zion. And now we'll come to the ladder. Descend, descend, descend. Left and then right hand turns. And Ion under a bit of pressure here from Zion. Maybe his teammates will let him know how close he is. But looking at the top right of the screen, Ion looks focused. Zion at the bottom right of your screen, also looking pretty good. The Ice Cheetah is in on this as well. Chryson is just having problems with this track and just not managing to charge and get a fight going for this one for China Dragons. Ion versus Zion. Like Zion and Zion in Zion. Over the top of Rapperswil Castle. That was a brief moment for you Sing Matt fans. Or Matt Sing fans. You're all mad, but there you go. Zion over Ion now, though. It is like the first race of the series, as Ion was in the lead for almost all of it, but is just getting a little bit of a challenge now from Zion and finds himself in second place by almost half a second with not much of this to go. It's the technical part now, over the water. Ion charging here. We're on board as he comes through the tunnel and heads to the power loops. He's got to get Zion here or in the cubes or hope Zion starts another lap, but he's not going to. Ion drops down to third as he's crashed in the power loops. The Ice Cheetah moves up in the second. Cyclone with some luck going their way today. Zion through the Fox Ear gate and is into that finish gate. Nice and quick, and the Ice Cheetah gets second as well. Cyclone with another win. Zion with another win. That's 3 for Zion today. Wow. Ion had that for so long. Zion gets the first between Cyclone and China Dragons. China Dragons Ion is in another situation where he's leading a race right until somewhere around the halfway point of the fourth lap. I'm not sure what part of it is just causing him to lose a few tenths of seconds. It might be the ladder, it might have been somewhere close to the ladder, but Cyclone's Zion FPV ready to pounce and go from there. I see some support for him from Blonde Angel FPV and Kite FPV and of course Mr. Cyclone Racing Team. Amazing. But before we get into the second race of this, can we just take a look back in the chat? Spain Drone Team. Congratulations, Cyclone. Until the finish line is crossed, the race does not end and you were where you had to be. Silvio and Danuba, very great, and for us, whatever happens, the best. SDT, Perpetuum Coin, everybody, showing the true sportsmanship that we get from our teams here in the DCL. What a beautiful team from Spain. Cyclone with a 1-0 lead over China Dragons. Is this the end of China Dragons in the Split 1 finals? Well, Kryson is not at the back this time. He's at the front or thereabouts. The Ice Cheetah is with him. Ion in third, who's been very consistent around this track, and it is Zion, who's a little bit too far behind at the moment. But that is tremendous work around the corkscrew there. The Ice Cheetah doing brilliant 4 power loops. Zion struggling a little bit after that win. So China Dragons in a position here where they might pull 1 point back and take it to the third of this best of 3. Ion in the lead. Kryson so close to him. We're seeing what that view looks like for Ion at the moment as Kryson just swung across him, but Ion came out of the ladder and stays in front, although Kryson is just nudging around him, but he can't get put off by his teammate. So long as it's orange, nothing to worry about for Ion. Out to the water on lap number 2. The Ice Cheetah trying to hang on to them, but we've seen him just lose a little bit of time over the 4 laps that we race here on our track No Pressure in Lake Zurich, and the Ice Cheetah has lost a half a second more now. This is clean work for China Dragons, and if they fly like this, the Ice Cheetah won't get in front of them, and Zion is surely too far behind for everything he can do. Zion FPV Dad cheering on Zion FPV, loving the dads and the parent support in chat. Keep it coming for him. He's flying well, but he's just not managing to gain on the pilots in front after that early mistake from him. Kryson still in the lead. Ion has dropped back to third. The Ice Cheetah, is he going to grab another win? It's going to look like a problem for Kryson. That'll help him get it, as Kryson is clear out in front of him, and the Ice Cheetah can see him now on that part as they head out to the lakes, and you've got a little bit more visibility of what's ahead of you. The Ice Cheetah tries to gain on Kryson into these. You've got to go through them 4 times around the block trade, power loops, and Kryson and the Ice Cheetah do. Ion is a little bit too far behind. The Ice Cheetah is flying aggressively now as Kryson feels like he's within touching distance, and it's only 0.2 of a second, barely a quarter of a second. Kryson and the Ice Cheetah are 1 lap to go. If Kryson loses this to the Ice Cheetah or anybody else from Cyclone Racing, China Dragons are eliminated, and Cyclone continue on in the Split 1 finals, but Kryson is still in the lead now, and the Ice Cheetah's got Ion FPV to think about. There it is, just dropping down in front of him on the dive cube, but he comes out just behind. It's the Ice Cheetah still in second, and not much of this race to go. We see his route through the tunnel to the power loops. He gained a lot on Kryson on the exit of the cubes, and he is closer to him this time. If he can do so well, and Kryson gets a little bit slower again, then Kryson is for the taking, but the Ice Cheetah is bumped, and Ion has slipped in front of him, and Kryson and Ion are the 2 orange drones in front of the Ice Cheetah as they make the final run to the finish gate, and China Dragons are still alive! Wow! Welcome to the Split 1 finals. If you're just joining us, we're the Drone Champions League, and these are the best pilots in the world. Kryson gets a race win after he was so far behind in the previous one. That's his first win of today, and 1-1 between these teams. Oh my! If Kryson gets through that earlier part of the track, because he's had a few now where he seems to have hit something early in lap number 1, or midway in lap number 1. If he can get past that, then he seems to find himself at the front. But Ion had the lead for so long in that as well, and the Ice Cheetah, that interview that I had with him earlier on where he said he doesn't really like this track, his racing has massively improved now they're into this series. If the Ice Cheetah continues to just iron out a little problem here as he gets more used to this track, he's willing to put up a fight. And remember, again, they had 1 hour to learn this track before we went live. So when I talk about pilots ironing things out, you know, this isn't a track that they've had a chance to really nail down They're getting it better all the time. You'll see it continue throughout today. It's China Dragons in orange, it's Cyclone Racing in purple, and it's this race that sees one of them continue in the Split 1 finals, where they're going to race next against Raiden Racing. The other team is going to get eliminated. Who's your money on? Chryson, Ion, Zion, or the Ice Cheetah, all of them dipping in and out of the lead. 1/4 of a second between all 4 of them. Yeah, everybody a bit more warmed up on this track now. Zion FPV is back in the lead. Into the power loops, got a bit wrong for Chryson. That's what I was talking about. If he gets a problem, and it does seem to happen to him on the first lap, not any of the other ones, then that sends him a little bit back, but he's not too far behind. It's 0.7 of a second. The guy he's behind in first place, that's his teammate at the moment, Ion FPV. Ion hasn't got his first win of the day yet, but he's been in the lead for so long, and he's managed under pressure phenomenally well, just not until the very end. Now he really needs to do it till the very end. It is Ion versus Zion again, and 1/4 of a second between them. Chryson behind by another 1/4 of a second. The Ice Cheetah very close and just slips into third, past Chryson. We're on lap number 2 into the power loops. We've had a few bumps on the inside by some of our pilots. Zion is out of that nice and tidily. The Ice Cheetah is right alongside him. Chryson just dobbing in and out of his view as well as he comes out into second, and Ion continues. The end of the second lap, he's in the lead. Lap number 3 begins at the Foxeer turn, and we go around and over Rapperswil Castle. The Ice Cheetah lost half a second, drops a little bit further behind. He's in 4th. Zion 0.2 of a second behind as we see him charging towards Ion, and he gained a lot of time on Ion in the last race, and he's managing to do it again now. He's all but taken the lead from him through the drop gate. Less than 1/10 of a second between 3 pilots over the water. Ion, Chryson and Zion. It's turning into a boy band of names. Now we'll go through the block trade the block trade power loops with these pilots so close, but the Ice Cheetah has got caught, and Chryson has got caught, and the pressure mounts on Zion as he is almost half a second behind Chryson, and that turn is the start of the final lap now. Chryson's back in the lead. How does he do it? How does he have problems in lap 1 and end up winning races in lap number 4? Zion is the one who's got to catch him. It can't be the Ice Cheetah. It would need to go very wrong for Chryson and the Zion, and Zion is in the ladder, and Cyclones Racing's chances are disappearing right now. Chryson is out in front. We've seen him make mistakes. If he manages not to make any mistakes, then China Dragons are surely going to survive. But it's been dodgy for him, and Zion needs to be ready to pounce, and the Ice Cheetah needs to be ready to pounce. Zion is so far behind now, it can't be him. Can Chryson get this thing finished for China Dragons, or does Cyclone Racing's battle end now? This is Zion's view. Cyclone is second as Chryson are the winner of that race and keeps China Dragons in the Split 1 finals. Wow. He goes from behind to getting points when they absolutely must get them. Creator Gamer from China Dragons in the chat saying, nice one. Me, I'm blown away by it. We say goodbye to Zion, the Ice Cheetah, and all of Cyclone Racing, who are in the chat saying GG to China Dragons. Another example of the tremendous sportsmanship between these teams. I have talked about it so many times. Absolutely love the support these teams give each other. Zion getting 3 wins out of all the races he's been in today. That's a great showing from him. But Cyclone Racing fall at this stage, and China Dragons continue, and they don't get much time to rest as they're going to be against Raiden next. Let's talk to Cyclone. A fun race, says Mr. Cyclone Racing Team. The Ice Cheetah and Zion, your boss, Mr. Cyclone Racing Team, is in chat saying GG to China Dragons. And what a fun race. That did look fun, but what a challenge. How do you guys feel? Zion, let's start with you.
I feel good. I'm still happy with where we ended up, and we did our best.
Yep. And the Ice Cheetah, when I chatted to you just now, you said you didn't like that track, but it seemed to be coming to you. You were definitely getting quicker on it.
I'm starting to warm up to it, and like I said, it'll take me a little bit longer for these type of tracks to get comfortable on. But I'm really happy with my teammate here, who did such a great job, and I'm very happy with how he did. So.
Yeah, Zion, we hadn't seen so much of you during Split 1. We'd seen J-Bots getting lots of points early in the season, and the Ice Cheetah sort of improving as the season went along as well. But Zion, you really put in a great fight today. I imagine you should, hopefully you're feeling very pleased with your own performance.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I feel like I've improved a ton since the beginning of Split 1, so I'm very happy with myself.
Great. And the Ice Cheetah, we met in Dubai. We were chatting a few times in a few late night places in Dubai, and on stage, of course, as well. And you were saying just how pleased Cyclone are to have made it to the finals. You're going to be 5th out of all of this, which is where you finished the Split 1 season. I mean, that's a hell of an achievement.
Yeah, that's exactly what we were hoping for, and we hit our target. So next year, maybe we'll set it a little higher each time. So this is our first year. We're excited.
Yeah. Well, Astronaut's been in the chat. Other guys have been in the chat cheering you on as well. Cyclone Racing, well done. Really thrilling races, but you leave the Split 1 finals at this stage. But thanks for all the excitement.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
Cyclone Racing. China Dragons continue. Now, this is going to be China Dragons against Raiden next. If we can chat with the China Dragons pilots, we will, but they'll also be wanting to get ready for that matchup. China Dragons and Raiden, team from China, our team from Japan. Like, the history between these two teams is very, very interesting. I mentioned earlier on, China Dragons had seasons before where they hadn't scored many points at all. Let's see if we can grab them before they get into this battle with Raiden. No, I think they're going to be getting ready for the battle with Raiden, which is coming up. These teams, you know, they got knocked out so many times back in the real-life racing series, single elimination bracket, knockout series, losing the quarterfinal, the first race out of the 8 teams who were there, going out at that stage. Raiden finished the 2019 season on 0 points. They didn't get any points from any race the entire year, and yet then we go to our virtual season when COVID was such a pandemic around the world, and a couple of seasons later in 2021, Raiden are the first team to ever beat X-Blades for the World Championship title, and they retained it in 2022. So far in 2023, they ended up 3rd place in the Split 1 leaderboards, and they would like to have been a little bit stronger than that, of course, but 3rd place in our Split 1 finals season, facing Quad Force 1 in the bracket, as you saw earlier on, but they lost 2-0. Quad Force 1, so now Raiden find themselves needing to fight and stay alive in this, and it's China Dragons that they're going to have to beat to do so. I see Lego Clone number 1 is in the chat. Clone number 1, who I was praising earlier on for being so good for their team this year, but he's at Gatwick, not flying our side of things. I think China Dragons, let's try and grab them before they go racing. Ion and Chryson's going for a walk, or making himself look more beautiful. Ion, let's chat with you. You're still alive, China Dragons, but it was touch and go.
Yeah, it was first round. Obviously didn't go our way, but then we came back in the second and third round, so that was good.
Ion, you've been out in front. You've been leading races for sort of 3.5 laps or thereabout, and then just getting pipped to it at the end. What's holding you back? What's stopping you getting that win?
I don't know, just at the end, the pressure obviously builds up over the race distance, and it gets to you at the end. And this race is 4 laps, so usually we are used to racing 3, and this is a lap extra, so that's a little bit of an extra challenge. But yeah, I'm hoping to personally bounce back on that and do better.
Yeah. And Chryson, you've been either some way behind at the back or out in front. Is there a particular obstacle that is causing you problems? Oh, he's just getting in position again. I think Chryson needs to get... Got his camera team working hard. Okay, Chryson, Ion, we've got Lego Clone in the chat from Gatwick Airport saying he's wishing you best of luck and can't be there. You've got Raiden next. Ion, how do you feel about taking on Raiden Racing?
I feel great. Actually, practice is going on right now, so I'm doing.
Yeah, practice is going on right now. That's what I thought. All right, you get ready in the warm up, and we'll see you race in a minute.
Cool.
Yes, so just a little bit of a warm-up before the race happens, so don't go anywhere. China Dragons, they lost 2-0 to X-Blades. They've beaten Cyclone Racing 2-1 here. What happens when they face Raiden Racing, the two-time reigning world champions? That's next. And welcome back to the Drone Champions League, the World Championship for professional drone racing teams. And we're here with DCL's Split 1 Finals for 2023. Our dual elimination bracket has seen some drama already, with STT Perpetuum Coin being the first team to be eliminated, and Cyclone Racing just got knocked out by China Dragons, who are ready for their matchup. It is Cyclone's 5th place here. China Dragons now go fighting against Raiden, Ion and Chryson, against Vincent Mines and IQ Zero. A new best of 3 between the yellow and the orange teams. Ion and Chryson, good strong start by them. IQ and Vincent Mines within a tenth of a second, all of these 4 pilots. Very early in the race, and we've seen mixed results between these. We've seen Chryson sometimes at the back and sometimes out in front. We've seen IQ leading races until the very end, as he said earlier on, just a little bit of nerves. And we've seen Vincent Mines be extremely fast on this earlier when they were racing against Quad Force 1, but then losing each of those races to Propsicle for Quad Force 1. So let's see what Mines can do against China Dragons. And IQ, for that matter, who was leading races too when Mines was having some difficulties. We've got Chryson against Mines at the moment, and 0.3 of a second between them as we're midway into lap number 2. Early in lap number 2, actually, over Rapperswil Castle, back through that DCL gate. Let's see how the ladder goes. Chryson leads out Myons through it, and Chryson goes a little bit lower on the exit than Mines did, but both of them through the dive gate with no problems, and now over the lake. And it's 3 pilots within 0.75 of a second, and Ion has just slipped a little bit further behind those 3. The block trade, power loops, is wide for Myers, but he's all good. As Ion has lost, like I say, a little bit of time earlier, but IQ Zero just lost a lot more and finds himself down in the back. Through the Foxeer gate to start lap number 3. Chryson just ahead of Vincent Myers by less than 0.2 of a second. Chryson a lot lower there, as you see. Myers much higher over the castle, and a couple of gates coming back from there. Chryson, I said, was a bit lower on the route out of this ladder the first lap. Myons is swinging around a little bit more. As you can see, it was a little bit smoother for Chryson. Myons just trying to stay with him and is doing so. Still 0.3 of a second between the two of them. Chryson was being caught here in earlier races. Let's see if Myons can do something about him. We know what a strong finisher he is. Both of them around the power loops, and a good route from Chryson into the cubes, and Myons is still with him, and it's still 0.3 of a second to do something about it. But Myons moves past him as Chryson hit the outside of one of the cubes on one of his turns just before the last bit of the cubes, and so that sees him almost a second behind Vincent Myons now. This is just what Raiden needed, exactly what China Dragons need to recover from. Ion is too far behind to do anything about Myons. It's going to be Chryson who does it. Into the ladder he goes, and this is the final lap here, into the dive gate, and Chryson is rattling inside that again. He did that on the earlier series against Cyclone. I think it was on the first lap then. It's on the 4th lap now. Chryson is still the 2nd place pilot, but Myons is 2, maybe 3 seconds ahead of him now. Myons has just got to keep this going all the way smooth to the finish. Doesn't need to do anything crazy. Nate joins us in the chat as well from the team, but Chryson is beaten by Vincent Myons in the first match between them. You can see Myons under a lot of pressure there. IQ Zero is still finishing. First point goes to Raiden, and that is Myons' first win of the day. Ooh, it really could be any of them at any time, couldn't it? Chryson in the lead, thereabouts. Ion, I've said it so many times, in the lead, just moving around. IQ Zero performing well today, given we've not seen very much of him during the whole of the Split 1 season. His race times are good, his mid-race battling is strong. You'd think it would be Myons or, well, I don't know, choose from China Dragons pilots. It feels like Myons is the one who could beat it for Raiden. IQ maybe being a little bit slower than him, but Chryson and Ion getting times between the two of them. Raiden with a 1-0 lead. Remember, we're in the elimination bracket here. China Dragons have to win this race or they are eliminated by Raiden. And on the opening race of 2023's season, the very first race that we did, you can watch it back on our YouTube magazines, China Dragons beat Raiden. Something I don't think they'd ever managed to do. China Dragons beat Raiden in the opening match of 2023 in Raiden's first defense of their World Championship title. Now here, IQ0 is already doing dealing with a 1 second penalty, so that's a problem for him. Mayans in second place. Kryson just with him alongside on either turn. Mayans, Kryson, as you can see their names swap back and forth. Kryson now leading Mayans for the moment, then Ion, a 5 second gap between them, and IQ0 too far behind. So let's see what Mayans can do. Nice route into the dive cube. That is a great approach on that. See if you can do that when you get a chance to fly this track as well. Mayans and Kryson in those 6 gates. They just switched one to another to another. Okay, Kryson over Mayans. 4 now, and we're only on lap number 2. This race already feels like it's had 3 or 4 laps, but no. Just begun lap number 3, over the Rapperswil Castle. Mayans, then Kryson at the moment. But Kryson every now and then is in front of Mayans. They are so close, 200ths of a second between the pair of them. And now down into the ladder. Is either one of them going to break there? No, but look at Mayans. That route through the dive cube is so flowing. I love it. That is a brilliant way to fly it. Kryson, who's battled that drive gate a few times and has been rattling around inside of it a couple of times. He is 2 tenths behind Mayans, who's much more confident on that obstacle. But Mayans is getting caught now in the cubes. Kryson on lap number 3 is right back into contention. Until Kryson just went around I don't know how many times. Put in a 720 or a 1080 or more than that, completely unnecessary, trying to find his way out. Mayans is off. Kryson got absolutely lost in the cubes. Just span it again and again, and now he's trying to find the ladder. This has all come to pieces for Kryson. Mayans is out in front, and remember Raiden, they got the first one. If China Dragons don't win this lap right now, then China Dragons are going to get eliminated. And Kryson is trying to keep up with Mayans, but it would be unlike Mayans to make any mistakes in this last part. That said, the cubes just nagging away at you. The Mayans is out and back to the shore and heading for the last gate. There it is, and into the finish gate, and Raiden continue. Thanks to Vincent Mayans getting 2 for 2. And with that, China Dragons will be eliminated. With their second loss of today. They lost 2-0 to the X-Blades. They beat out Cyclone Racing 2-1, but Raiden send them out 2-0 here. So a good day of racing for the team in orange, the China Dragons, but Raiden continue on in their battle in their second race of today. Beating out China Dragons 2-0. It was a great effort from Kryson and Ion. A few mixed performances in the last few races as well, seeing Ion at the lead for so long, seeing Kryson at the lead sometimes as well. Let's see how they're feeling. Ion and Kryson, a great battle with you and Raiden, but Mayans just a little bit too hot to catch, Ion.
Yeah, I mean, we tried our best, and yeah, that can happen like that, so.
Yep. Kryson, how are you feeling? China Dragons are going to be 4th today. Are you disappointed?
Kryson?
Ion, maybe I'll ask you. Are you disappointed with 4th place?
Kryson, he's asking if you're disappointed with 4th place.
Ion, you can tell me.
Yeah. I mean, realistically, this is where we were going to end up. But yeah, we obviously hoped for a podium today, but that didn't happen. It's okay though.
It's okay. Split 1 was a really good set of races from you, coming in 4th in that. How are you feeling about Split 2? What is the team going to do between now and the start of Split 2?
Well, we're obviously going to keep on practicing and let's see how it goes, you know. Split 1's now done. We're going to just focus entirely on Split 2, keep practicing with the team. I think that's CDR is one of our strengths. That we have a really good team who practice together a lot. So
yeah,
that's exactly what I'm keep doing.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of camaraderie and good spirits between China Dragons, in particular in Split 1. I can't wait to see how you guys all improve and see what you do in Split 2. Commiserations, guys, but well done on a great Split 1.
Thank you.
So China Dragons go out 4th. So far, this is progressing just as our 18 weeks of the Split 1 season did, with STT and then Cyclone Racing, and now China Dragons being 6th, 5th and 4th. Let's talk to Raiden Racing before they get warmed up for their next race. Mayans, IQ 0 or Mayans? That's a look of relief, I think.
Pressure was on us. I'm literally almost crying, literally.
Wow.
That one was
You're no stranger to pressure, though, Vincent. You've been under pressure and stealing wins many times in the DCL.
Yeah, but we know it was our last opportunity in this race. Now it will be also our last opportunity against whoever wins from X-Blades and Watford, and we're excited about it.
Of course you are. IQ 0, how are you liking the track?
I like the track. I don't like how well I'm flying it, but I'm having fun, so that's all good.
It's a real challenge. Everybody's been making a few mistakes, but it's getting smooth. Vincent, you seem to be flying very well around here.
Yeah, I really like the track, but I'm almost not blinking, and I feel that's not good at all.
Yeah, we could see on your face as we're watching the cams.
When I finish, wow, I feel kind of confused.
So we got X-Blades against Quad Force 1. Who do you think is going to lose that and face you next? Vincent, who do you think?
I would love to have revenge with Quad Force 1.
Yeah.
That one's going to be late.
Yep. And I can see IQ nodding away as well. We'll find out. Guys, take a moment. Get ready. Your next battle comes up in the race after this one, so get ready.